Hi guys, this is the first of a series of videos on simple linear regression. The aim of these videos is to introduce you to the basic idea underlying linear regression, as linear regression is the final objective of Module 2 of the Integrated Mathematics syllabus. In this video, I'll briefly discuss the concept of regression, after which I will talk about what most of this video centers around: variables. Let's get started. What is regression? Regression is a tool used to investigate how two or more variables are related. Now, in research, a variable is a characteristic which can be measured and whose value changes in terms of quantity or quality. And a variable can either be an independent variable or a dependent variable. An independent variable is a variable that the researcher manipulates or changes and whose effects are measured and compared. The independent variable then is also called the explanatory variable, the predictive variable, or the regressor. The dependent variable, on the other hand, is the variable which is affected as a result of changing the levels of the independent variable. The dependent variable, then, is also called the outcome variable, the respond variable, or the regressand, So the independent variable, when you change its levels, the dependent variable is affected as a result. The following are three examples to reinforce your understanding of the dependent and the independent variable. Consider the following three scenarios. The CEO of the local tourism authority would like to know whether a family's annual expenditure on recreation is related to their annual income. This information could be used to tailor marketing campaigns to certain consumer segments. In this example, the two variables are the family's annual expenditure on recreation and the family's annual income. To determine which variable is the dependent variable and which variable is the independent variable, we ask the question: does income affect expenditure, or does expenditure affect income? In other words, does the amount of money that you earn affect the amount of money that you will spend, or does the amount of money that you spend affects the amount of money that you earn? It is reasonable to think that the amount of money that you earn affects the amount of money that you will spend, and therefore annual income would be the independent variable and annual expenditure will be the dependent variable. In the second example, a food company is interested in determining a shelf life for a new chilled food product, and hence they would like to quantify the relationship between microbial activity and time. Now, in this example, when we see this part of the sentence, they would like to quantify the relationship between, then from this we can be able to identify the two variables. And so the two variables are microbial activity and time. Again, we ask the question, does microbial activity affect time, or does the time affect microbial activity? And microbial activity could be, for example, the amount of microbes, which are microscopic organisms such as bacteria and viruses, that are in a petri dish. So time determines the microbial activity, and as a result, time would be the independent variable and microbial activity will be the dependent variable, because as time proceeds, the number of microbes in the petri dish will either increase over time or decrease over time. In the third example, a car buyer is interested in purchasing a second-hand car and would like to ascertain the relationship between a car's age and the advertised purchase price. The two variables here are the car's age and the advertised purchase price. We ask the question again. Does the car's age determines the worth or the purchase price of the car? Or does the purchase price of the car affects the age of the car? In other words, as the car gets older, does that have an effect on the price of the car? Or as you set a price for the car gets older? The latter doesn't make sense, and so it must be the case that the car's age determines what the purchase price will be. And as a result, the car's age will be the independent variable and the purchase price will be the dependent variable. Test your understanding. Identify the independent variable or variables and the dependent variable in the following four scenarios. You can write your answer in a book or post it in the Facebook Integrated Mathematics group. Now, if we go back to the examples discussed earlier, we would find that in each scenario, a dependent variable is related to one and only one independent variable. And for the purpose of this course, we'll be only considering cases like these, in which one independent and one dependent variable are related. Such a case is called a simple linear regression model. Simple. So it is a simple regression model if we are able to summarize and study the relationship between two continuous or quantitative variables. And of these two variables, one has to be the independent variable and the other has to be the dependent variable. However, in reality, there is more than one independent variable that affects the dependent variable. For example, we can consider the price of a commodity, and the price of this commodity may depend on factors such as the demand for the commodity, the price of other goods, and even taste and preferences. So in this example, we have three independent variables, which are demand, the price of other goods, and taste and preferences. And we have, so these are independent variables. And then we have one dependent variable, which is the price. So all of these three factors affect the price of the commodity. And therefore, the price of the commodity is the dependent variable. And this is an example of multiple linear regression. Multiple. And in multiple linear regression, we consider more than one independent variable and one dependent variable.